Hello, everyone. Sufit here. I'm here today with Chuck Ticker, estate mediator and author of Bobby Gets Bubkus, Navigating the Sibling Estate Fight. Chuck joins us today from thesiblingguy.com. Welcome, Chuck.
Hi, Sophie. Good to be back.
So, Chuck, I have a question for you today. And there's really two really clear arguments, one on each side of this one. But should you talk to your adult kids about expectations? Should you talk to them about what you plan to leave them in your will?
Well, I think in the situation uh, where you're planning to make an unequal distribution amongst your children for whatever reason, uh, probably a good idea to sit down with the family beforehand to see if they not necessarily agree, but at least so to make them aware of what you're thinking and to see what the reaction might be. You know, you can give your rationale, but sometimes even if you have a perfectly good rationale, it's not going to be accepted by the kids, and it could lead to a fight after you're gone. But you might be
So,
surprised that even the child who's you're planning to leave more to might say, I don't really want you to do that because I have a good rapport with my sibling and this is going to create friction. So, but I think in any case where you're going to have an unusual uh, distribution, because typically you would be equal, you want to have that discussion, or if there's a specific asset like a business or a cottage that you're thinking of leaving to one child over another, I think it's good to have that discussion in
so let's
advance.
get let's just get this straight, Chuck. So I'm 80, let's say, and I talk to my three kids about how I'm going to leave half to two of them and half to one of them because one of them either helped with the business more or one of them is impecunious and doesn't really have any money or whatever the reason. Why would I why would I imbue my last years of life with the arguments that are going to come, the resentments that are going to come, I mean, maybe they'll have that after I'm gone, but why should I live with that for another 10 years until then? Like, wouldn't that just make it really uncomfortable?
I could see it making it uncomfortable for the parent, and a lot of people don't want to have that difficult conversation, and so I could see that parent not wanting to have that discussion. Perhaps an alternative is to leave a letter or something with the will to be read after your death that explains why you did what you did. Uh, but even that, with that explanation, there's a good chance there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings or anger uh, or even shock on the part of the children because they didn't see it coming. So it's a difficult one to answer, and maybe I still think it's best to have that difficult conversation, and maybe you need somebody to be there as a neutral, moderating that discussion if you're not comfortable having it directly with the family or the kids. Uh, but yeah, there going to be resentment that you're going to have to live with? Uh, Possibly, but having a good, honest discussion, could be helpful. I think a lot depends on the family dynamic and the strength of the relationships, and how much, those relationships can be tested. Uh, but it's not an easy question. I don't have one answer fits all for you.
I must admit, I like the leaving the letter idea better than the telling them while you're alive idea. Just because I wouldn't want to have to deal with all that. But I also see your point that, you'd want to really explain the rationale. I think the important thing for children, besides the money, is to feel loved. So is there some way that you could communicate that to your children, like regardless of how your legacy is going to be spread out?
Um, Good question, because no question that the distribution of wealth is viewed as an expression of love or closeness. And if a child's not getting as much, they're going to feel that maybe mom didn't love me as much as my sibling. Mom always liked you best. Uh, I think I once again I think the best way to do that, I mean, obviously, is uh, speaking with that child individually and expressing your love and expressing that why you're doing what you're doing. And I think what is even uh, in helpful, and you see there's a lot of parents, where they're grandparents, if they're all their kids have children, they have grandchildren. Um, how the grandchildren are treated are just very important as well. So that's another way of doing it. Um, but it's a hard call. I mean, even one of your children is like, a billionaire and doesn't need the money, and you're leaving more to the other child that is not as well off, there's still going to be possibly resentment there from the
Yeah.
wealthier sibling. So,
I mean, unless in the letter you said something like, I love you all equally. I'm very proud of you, John, that you're a kabillionaire. But your brother Bobby, I want to leave him a bit more to help him out.
mhm,
This is no reflection on, how much I love you guys because I love you all, or something like that might help, wouldn't it?
right. Look, I'm not a psychotherapist or a child psychologist, but my reading has taught me that from an early age on, like starting like 1 year up, children are very sensitive and very alert to how they're being treated by the parent in relation to a sibling. So if you've waited to show that love uh,
Yeah, yeah.
until they're in their 50s or 60s, it's probably too late. So you got to start when they're little and build that confidence and that relationship from the beginning. I think that's what's important.
So I guess this is much more of an issue when it's an unequal distribution. Can you see any issues when it's an equal
Oh,
distribution?
there's no question that you can have, and I've written about this, that even an equal distribution can be viewed as inequitable, depending on the circumstances where one child has done, let's say, the lion's share of the caregiving, or one child had certain expectations that you promised them something, in return for you doing this, I'm going to leave you the cottage or the family farm. So even where there's an equal distribution, it's not necessarily going to be viewed as being fair or equitable.
Hmm. Lots of little pitfalls there. We'll talk about this more in the future, Chuck, but for today, thank you very much. I'm here today with Chuck Ticker, estate mediator and author of Bobby Gets Bupkis, Navigating the Sibling Estate Fight. Chuck joined us today from thesibling.guy.com. Thank you very much, Chuck.
My pleasure.